Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversation about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
Do we want to start with Magic or OPR, or what do we want?
So let's do some Magic.
Alrighty.
This is a Magic episode.
This is a Magic episode for sure.
By the time you're watching this, Assassin's Creed should be available. Because I'm pretty sure it's available this weekend.
Okay.
I don't think there's a pre-release or anything. They're just selling stuff. It's only for Commander players, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Assassin's Creed Magic the Gathering crossover. They're doing 7 card booster packs, which we didn't really talk about.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's obvious why that's dumb. For the same price or maybe even more of like normal boosters, they give you 15 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you had like the Modern Horizons 3, which was just so OP in terms of the power level.
Well, in those, they do market as premium booster packs. So those are $10, but you still get 15 cards.
Yeah.
Like a normal pack. So you have the Assassin's Creed Beyond boosters, I think they're calling them, and then collector boosters still, obviously. Only 100 cards, but with all the variants and showcase art and borderless, I mean, that's like 300-400 something different printings. So
yeah.
And then I think they did a little like starter kit that was supposed to have 2 little like battle decks you could play against each other. I don't think they were commander decks. I think they were just like 60 card decks.
Commander decks if there's only 100 new cards.
Yeah. So I only heard a little bit about that, and I don't know if that was arena only or what, but I saw cards that were like Assassin's Creed battle deck or beginner decks or something.
Interesting.
Didn't really see it advertised that much, so
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah. There's one card I pulled from that. I think it's only in that battle box specifically, but it actually looked like a decent commander. All right.
Well, should we
jump right in?
Assassin's Creed stuff, and then we can maybe...
I basically have like good reprints, good cards in the 99, and then good commanders. Is kind of how I split mine.
I just kind of have cards that I thought was cool.
Oh, I also have a couple of those.
I don't have... Yeah, there's not very many... I mean, there's some cool... there's some cool new cards.
Yeah.
But none of them, in my opinion, are like... First of all, we've talked about a few of them in a previous episode when we first got Assassin's Creed spoilers.
Yes,
Second of all, I didn't find this set to be like crazy out of the box amazing.
No,
like there was
amazing.
Like, some standard ability. Like when I say standard abilities, it's like something that you would expect to see on a different card.
Yeah,
you know,
sure. There's a lot of new assassins.
Yeah, obviously. But,
so if you had an assassin color, or like assassin tribe that you wanted a different color in now, like because it used to basically just be black.
Yep.
Now you can do like red, green, white assassins.
Yep.
If you wanted.
Yep.
So yeah, nothing crazy, but there's, I don't know, it's cool. It's fine, I guess. There's some new variety.
Yeah, there's some cool new stuff for sure, but.
What is your, do you have your favorite legendary? Your favorite commander?
Favorite commander?
Yeah, from your cards.
I don't know if I have a favorite commander. I have a favorite legendary, though.
Sure.
It's the one I showed you on Tuesday.
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
The Capitoline Triad.
The Capitoline Triad.
10 mana, 7/7.
It's pretty bad.
But...
And it's colorless, which is colorless. Cool. Just 10 mana.
10 mana. Has 2 abilities. Says... The first one is called Those Who Came Before. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each historic card in your graveyard. And as a reminder, historic cards are artifacts, legendaries, sagas. Which, you know.
Mm-hmm. Artifacts. Pretty easy to get in the graveyard, yeah.
Sagas and legendaries, maybe not as much. Legendaries, you know.
A lot of artifacts sacrifice themselves, or they cost 0 mana anyway. Like, it's easy to get those in the graveyard.
And then the second ability is exile any number of historic cards from your graveyard with a total mana value of 30 or greater. And then you get an emblem with creatures you control have base power and toughness 9/9.
It's pretty fantastic.
It's pretty okay, if you ask me.
It's pretty fun. I did also take a picture of this one of like, this could be a commander.
It could be.
But you'd probably rather put it in the 99. because it's colorless.
Yeah.
So-
To be fair though,
Mhm.
you could have a bunch of artifacts in your colorless deck. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what the deck is going to be,
Yeah.
basically, and Eldrazi. But most of the Eldrazi are legendaries.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a very easy way to basically cast your commander for free.
Yeah.
Because, you're going to have artifacts in the graveyard.
You just need 10 stuff.
Things from that colorless deck in the graveyard, basically.
Mhm.
And then cast your commander for free.
Which is a 7/7 vanilla, do nothing.
7/7, yeah, except for the fact that you then exile cards from your graveyard.
At any point, if you have 30 mana value in your graveyard, you can, at instant speed, exile them, and you get an emblem, which is permanent. You can't interact with it. All your creatures are base power toughness 9/9.
And then, your Ornithopter costs 0 mana to cast.
9/9.
Is a 9/9 with flying. Which is pretty okay.
Everything a 9/9 if you got other buffs or +1/+1 counters on top of that.
They get pretty chunky pretty quick.
I like... On the first ability, I think, I can cheese this with a bunch of 0 mana artifacts in my graveyard. Or if this wasn't the commander, right, you can, blue and red have a lot of good discard synergies, discard to draw, so you just chuck random stuff in your graveyard. So there's good support, I think, in the blue-red artifact colors. But then the second ability means, I want big stuff in my graveyard. I can't have a bunch of 0-cost things because that doesn't help the second ability. So it is, it's interesting that it's not an obvious build around.
Yeah. I think a big problem with this deck would be ramp.
Sure, yeah.
Because you have to have enough stuff in the graveyard to make that second ability worth it.
Yeah, but then once you do it once,
you're set.
You don't really need your commander anymore either. Oh no, somebody...
It's almost a sorcery.
Yeah,
it's almost a really expensive sorcery.
It can be a delayed sorcery if you want, because that second ability is just inactivated at instant speed.
Yeah, but
if somebody's gonna remove your commander, you can instant speed fill your graveyard with more junk and then exile your graveyard and get the emblem, and you're all right, now I don't care if you kill my commander.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
Capitoline Triad.
Yeah.
It's a cool build around. I don't think it just goes in any random deck.
No, I feel it has to go into an Eldrazi deck though, right?
Yeah, you do need some big historic permanents.
And most of the Eldrazi's are legendaries.
Yeah, all the big Eldrazi Titans, they're called, that are all 10+ mana.
Get 3 of those in your graveyard, First of all, you've played those, so those are a threat.
Yeah.
And then, this one got killed or removed.
I think the original ones can't be in your graveyard, the original Eldrazi Titans.
Really?
Yeah, that was a clause. That's why a lot of people, I don't know, on a CEDH level, they put at least one in your deck, because the original ones say if it were to enter your graveyard, instead you shuffle it back in your library.
Oh, so you can't get milled.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah, it is. Again, pretty high level stuff.
That's really smart though.
So yeah, any of the newer Eldrazi Titans, they've had, I think, 3 printings each total, so there's 9. But yeah, big stuff chucking in the graveyard.
Yeah. And then there's some big artifact creatures. Hulking Metamorph is a blue creature technically.
Did that one? I think it had to be historic. Oh yeah, so Hulking Metamorph is an artifact creature. Yeah, there's a lot of legendary themes in Commander now.
There was Anyway, that's. I'll start with that one.
Cool. Yeah.
There we go.
I think my favorite one is the pronunciation's super funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's fine. What's up? Oh, just come grab it.
Oh, go for
it. Where is it? Oh, right there on the chair.
Oh man.
Good luck. You're fine.
Sweat it. And with that, our viewers just went up.
There's a girl.
400%.
Nerds like girls.
My wife keeps telling me, she's like, when are you guys going to bring me on an episode? I'll get your viewer count up. I'm like, well, we're trying to figure out the mic situation. And
yeah, that's true. We could have a 4-person episode.
Oh, yeah?
With 2 wives.
The 2 wives, yeah.
2 wives, me and you. That'd be funny.
Subscribers. We've tried the dog angle. It doesn't work.
Doesn't work, Jingle. Yeah. Sorry, bud.
Dogs are out.
And with that tangent,
And anyway, my favorite commander, I was initially I was like, I don't really care for this set, but then I was looking back over the cards, and I did find my favorite one, who looks a little underwhelming, but I think he can actually be pretty rude. Maybe a bit one note, because as soon as I played the deck one time, everybody would just target me.
Remove the commander.
Yeah, every subsequent time they'd be like, Trevor's playing this deck, we gotta kill his commander immediately. But it's Arbaz Mir. Those are English words.
Arbaz Mir.
There you go. Actually, it's probably
Arabic or something.
It's probably closer. Yeah. So he's 1 red, 1 white, 2 mana, 2/2, human assassin, like everything in this set. So when Arbaz Mir or another non-token historic permanent enters the battlefield under your control, he deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. So again, with the historic cards.
Yep. This whole set had a ton of historic.
Yeah. Artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. Main thing with this one, speaking of from the Capitoline Triad, speaking of 0 mana artifacts, anytime a 0 mana artifact enters the battlefield, you deal 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life.
So just treasure tokens.
It does say non-token. So it is it's not overpowered.
Yeah.
But it still is pretty easy to break.
There has to be something where it's like bouncing a creature back to your hand, and then it's like you have like an Ornithopter which costs 0.
Off the top of my head, I don't know how to do it in red white.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
But I'm sure you can. In blue, I know you can do it.
There's a couple white creatures that are bounce creatures.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you probably just need an untapper. Which again, blue has more untappers, but you can find them in colorless or white. So I didn't do a whole lot of digging to like break this commander yet, but I saw it again and I'm thinking.
Then like, you throw a Red Terror in there and you do 2 damage.
Yeah, any damage doubler gets insane. Actually,
and red has a bunch of that.
Oh, I'm dealing 2 damage every time I play a 0 cost artifact or a bunch of cheap artifacts. Oh, now I'm dealing 4 damage because I have 2 damage doublers out to each opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brutal.
And your commander's only 2 mana, so you're okay to like cast him in the early game, get some chip damage in with his ability. Somebody kills him, you get him out later in the game, maybe
for 4 mana.
When you have a damage doubler or 2 out, now it's really starting to hurt. So
yeah,
a bunch of just cheap artifacts. Arbaz Mir seemed alright.
Yeah,
again, he looks underwhelming, but I think maybe he just gets murdered immediately the second time you play the deck. So,
what's proxies are for?
Exactly. Like, I'll proxy the deck. I'll play it 1, maybe 2 times. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah. Very nice. All right, let me see. Are we just going to switch back and forth on these ones?
Sure. Because I did.
I don't know if I have. To be honest, I don't know if I have any other
legendaries that you liked.
Not from Assassin's Creed. Oh, there's a legendary artifact that was kind of good. The Caduceus Staff of Hermes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this one.
I think so. Yeah.
So it's pretty good. That's not the right one.
I had a couple legendary artifacts. I can go over the 2 that I pulled out next. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess these aren't. You wanted to go over legendary creatures.
No.
I was
go
just
for it.
Thinking legendary. Sorry. Anyway, 3 mana, 2 and a white. It's a legendary artifact equipment. So it gives the equipped creature has lifelink, which is, in my opinion, one of the better keywords.
Sure. Yeah. Surprisingly good in a commander game.
Especially like if you have like a little guy who, not a little guy, but like a 5/5 that gets through. It's like
that's significant.
5 health is like a significant chunk of health. In if I had an extra 5 life on our last commander game, that would have given me another turn.
Turn, yeah.
Exactly. Because you got me exactly to 0. So anyway, so then equipped creature has lifelink, and then as long as you have 30 or more life,
oh yeah, that's right.
Equipped creature gets +5/+5 and has indestructible and prevent all damage that would be dealt to this creature.
That's cool. Yep. Indestructible and prevent all damage that would be dealt to it.
Which
Because why not?
For 5 mana total because
investment.
it costs 2 white to equip,
Okay, 2 white pips.
is like, for a 5 mana investment, the lifelink probably not worth 5 mana.
Yeah.
But
+5/+5.
+5/+5 and indestructible and prevent all damage that would be dealt to this creature. Which
This is so interesting.
I don't know what's the difference between indestructible and prevent all damage.
You can remove indestructible. There are some abilities in Magic the Gathering that say permanents your opponents control lose indestructible till end of turn.
There's actually a couple new ones, I believe.
Yeah, there's one new one who kind of a 1-note legendary creature, so not a great commander, but he removes you pay 1 mana to like remove indestructible and hexproof and ward and protection. That guy's rude. He's a Templar Knight. He's an anti-assassin in the games, so that's why that guy has that ability. Wasn't going to mention him, but
there he is. I thought, for 5 mana, giving them all of that stuff is pretty okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. Is he going in your Crusade deck?
It probably is.
Because you need legendary artifacts to go find.
I do. The problem with this one, in my opinion, is that it's too cheap.
Yeah. You want like the big stuff to go get.
I do. But this one would also be nice because it's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap.
So if
you just draw
5 Templars and I draw it, I can actually like play the
you
card.
Still like it.
Like it still has utility other than activating it because of the Templars.
Sure.
Which I've been building the deck and I'm really worried about, like, man, if I get board wiped twice, like the deck kind of just falls apart a little bit.
Yeah, you got to have some decent recursion, because if you get board wiped twice, maybe you got like 8 knights in the graveyard.
Yeah, there's a couple of white recursion spells that do that, obviously.
Yeah, and bring all your creatures back.
And there's actually one that does it. I have it in the spirits deck. It makes them all 1/1 spirits, but they keep all their other
abilities,
keep everything but their 1/1 spirits.
And if they keep their name, and that's what their ability says, 5 Templar Knights.
Yeah.
But
they're spirits in addition to their other types, is what it's
totally fine. Yeah.
So it's like, do I care that they're 1/1s? Because my commander is going to give them +2/+2 anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and you're using them for the ability to go get any legendary artifact into play.
And they're going to have vigilance and lifelink, and what's the other one that?
First strike.
Yeah. Still. So it's like
vigilance, lifelink, first strike.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah. There's ways to not cheese it, but work around with board wipes. But
surely, yeah.
Anyway,
here's a legendary artifact you might want to include in the deck.
Ooh.
The Staff of Eden.
I did see this one.
This one's pretty cool. So it's a 6 mana legendary artifact. And it's when it enters the battlefield, you can basically steal any legendary permanent from any graveyard. You just put it into play. It can be your own if somebody killed one of your previous legendary artifacts, or if somebody wouldn't put their commander in their graveyard unless they like immediately pulled it back out. But any other legendary creature, a legendary artifact, or planeswalker, you can steal from their graveyard.
Yep.
When this guy enters. And then you just tap it to draw a card for each permanent you control but don't own.
Which is really cool because there's a bunch of different ways, especially with that being an artifact.
Yeah.
You can steal
other people's stuff. If that's the theme of your deck, this card's a slam dunk. Like, it's so good.
Because you're going to play it, and then because it's an artifact, you're going to tap it for like 4 cards, 5 cards, 6 cards.
Based on what you've stolen already.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm thinking about like an Atali.
Yeah.
And it's like, you might have like a sorcery or 2 or whatever non-permanents,
but sometimes you're just stealing permanents from your opponents.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I stole an artifact from him, a creature from him, and I played, and then this comes into play. Now I have 3, I tap it immediately, get 3 card draw.
Yeah. As we mentioned, there's a lot more like legendary themes in Commander these days. So like people probably have other stuff in their graveyards. If you like duplicate this effect, or if you blink the Staff of Eden, you get more legendary permanents from other people's graveyards. Like, it seems pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then the other feels like they had a trifecta of like legendary equipments in this one. There's the Excalibur.
This one was cool.
Yeah, this one's cool. Probably doesn't go in your Crusade deck.
No, it doesn't.
This is more specifically like a Voltron strategy. It's a 12 mana. The art looks phenomenal. Excalibur Sword of Eden, so it's just a big lightsaber. It costs X less to cast, where X is the total mana value of historic permanents you control. So if you have a Eldrazi Titan out, it costs 0.
Or I saw a meme of this one. It was the one of the dinosaurs that's a 12/12.
Okay.
A 12 mana card.
Yeah, probably Galta, I think, is the big green dinosaur.
Yeah, it was the big green dinosaur.
Yeah, he just looks like a T-Rex.
Yep.
Galta,
And,
Primal Hunger.
They had the picture of him and then the card next to him.
With the sword.
And then they put a sword in his mouth. And then it was I don't know if you've seen the GIF of, it's like in Blender. It's like the 3D animation of the T-Rex with the sword and just swinging it around.
That's funny.
And I was like, that's hilarious. You have a 12 mana 2020.
I have not seen that.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah, the effect is pretty fun. It's the equipped creature gets +10 +0, so +10 power and has vigilance. And it can only equip to a legendary creature for 2 mana. Doesn't have a normal equip cost.
Yeah.
But you're probably putting that on your commander anyway, which your commander is guaranteed legendary, so it's going to make the sword cost less, which is why, like, I think Galta does cost 12 mana, but he reduces his mana cost. And so, yeah, it's good combo there.
Yeah.
The Capitoline Triad they were 10 mana, I think. He casts this for 2 and equip, but now that he's a 17 power thing, like, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. It's good.
It probably goes in a more decks than you'd think. Also, the art.
There's one more that I kind of wanted to go over.
Sure.
I'm not a huge fan of this type of card.
Yeah.
It's vehicles.
Vehicles, yeah.
Other than your vehicle focused deck, I think that they're probably one of the
weaker
worst card design spaces.
You trade one creature.
They're relatively new, from my understanding.
Yeah,
5 years.
5 years ish.
But I just think that there's not enough. With all the power creep that's going on, they feel very underwhelming.
Sure.
And they always feel underwhelming.
Because it's an artifact, and in order to turn it into a creature, you have to trade another creature. You tap that creature, now your vehicle's a creature till end of turn. And if you want to block, same thing. You got to trade another creature to turn that guy into a creature.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, this one I thought was okay, though.
All right.
So it's 3 mana to cast. It's a 4/3. Well, it becomes a 4/3 when crewed.
Yeah.
The crew is only 1, though.
All right.
So
easy.
crew 1, very simple. It has Island Walk.
Fine.
And then this is the part that I thought was good, is whenever it's called Adrestia, it's
Greek.
It's a ship. When Adrestia attacks, if an assassin crewed this turn, draw a card. Adrestia becomes an assassin in addition to its other types until end of turn.
Assassin boat.
Yeah, which I thought, if you're the card draw, 3 mana crew 1 card draw with Island Walk is
fine. If you get multiple activations, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But then the becoming an assassin in addition to his other types, in my opinion, is going to be a decent way to
build off of those tribal synergies that your deck already has.
Exactly. You're turning a 1 mana or a tiny assassin, because crew 1, into a 4/3 with Island Walk, which a lot of blue decks out there, or a lot of decks with blue in them. So,
certainly.
You kind of get around the blockable thing.
Yeah. Well, and then even some of the tribal synergies might be like, all your assassins have, XYZ, have this keyword. So the one they've reprinted in this set is Cover of Darkness. So it's just a 2 mana black enchantment, but you choose a creature type, and then creatures of your chosen type have fear. So it's unblockable. It's like Island Walk, but not quite. It's unblockable except by black creatures. So it's like balanced unblockable. There's still a chance. So yeah, there's tribal synergies for being an assassin, certainly.
So I thought it was a decent. I'm not going to say it's like the best card ever. Obviously not. But as far as vehicles go, I think it's one of the better ones I've seen.
Yeah.
Much better than the one that came in the freaking Tyranids precon.
Yeah, that's the Goliath truck.
The Goliath truck. It's horrible.
I can't forget about the Goliath
crew
truck.
3 and it's a 4/4. It's like
Why?
it, especially in the Tyranids deck where it's like, okay, if I'm going to crew with 1/1s, the 1/1s that I have in there are useful mana dorks or enablers
Usually,
or whatever, right? And then everything else is a freaking 10/10. So like, I just deafened everyone by hitting the mic. Like, why would I use this Goliath truck
Yeah.
in this deck?
Yeah.
Bad synergy in my opinion.
Yeah.
But this one, because it turns a one power creature into a 4/3
with maybe some unblockable. Yeah.
And if it's an assassin you've crewed it with, you get a card draw, which, you know,
yeah,
it didn't seem bad to me.
It's all right. They're going in the right direction for vehicles.
I think so.
Certainly better than saddling or mounting or whatever. They started to do creatures that need crewed.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
Every new card type has got to kind of, I don't know, hit the spotlight eventually. Planeswalkers, people were like unsure back in 2008. Like, I don't know about these Planeswalker guys. The first couple ones were pretty bad.
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
Battles, that's kind of where we're at with battles still. I'm like, I don't know about these battle things.
Yeah.
I think there's more coming out in Bloomburrow.
I haven't seen any spoilers for him, but I could have missed them.
There was a spoiler from Mark Rosewater that he hinted at maybe they're coming back, but not totally confirmed yet. On to maybe a couple more Assassin's Creed dudes.
I don't think I had any other Assassin's Creed stuff.
I have one that's pretty sick. I think the art looks good because this is a Surtur, right, from Norse mythology,
Sure.
the fire giant god.
I do have one more.
So the art looks pretty rad on this guy. I think I got to share if you hadn't seen. He's the one from like the battle beginner decks.
That goes in your commander one right there.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a 5-mana 5/5 giant god warrior. He's mono red, trample, woo. And then whenever you cast a historic spell, he deals 3 damage to any target. So if I cast my 1-mana Soul Ring, lightning bolt. Cast my 0-mana Ornithopter, lightning bolt. It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe not his own commander, but he goes in a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Artifact themes in red.
For sure. So you're probably going every red artifact deck.
Yeah.
Like, just because free lightning bolts?
It's just a good extra
5-mana 5/5, right?
5-mana 5/5 trample.
Yeah, that's...
And plus free lightning bolts.
Yeah. I mean, that's like... No, you can't ask for more.
Yeah, even if your whole deck isn't built around a bunch of like 0-cost artifacts, I mean, I wouldn't scoff at that in my vehicle deck.
Yeah,
every time I cast a vehicle, I get a free lightning bolt.
Yeah. That guy's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've got one more from the Assassin's Creed set that I actually really liked.
Sure. Yeah. Was it Socrates?
No.
I don't think they're good, but a couple of the real life characters I think are funny. Socrates.
Yeah. It's Mary Reed and Annie Bonny.
Oh, yeah.
Anne Bonny? A-N-N-E?
Anne, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a 3-mana 3/3.
The female pirate captains from history.
Human assassin pirates.
Assassin pirates.
So it's a red and a blue, or blue and a red, which is, don't tell me, I got this. It's not Simic, that's blue and green. It's
what is it?
Yep. I said it before you did.
Nice.
I've been trying to get better at those. Anyway, 3-mana 3/3 with haste, which is nice because it has a tap ability that says draw a card, then discard a card. So not card advantage.
It's looting, it's card selection, yeah. And you fill your graveyard.
Yeah. This is the kicker though, is whenever you discard an island, pirate, or vehicle card, create a tapped treasure token.
Island, pirate, or vehicle.
Which is, kind of like a random mix of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of nice because if you have like a useless pirate or vehicle or, I I mean, an island is
an
not
island.
useless necessarily.
Yeah, but if you had a lot of them, and
if you're getting to trade out an island
for a treasure token,
for a treasure token plus another card draw.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of like I'm getting rid of potential permanent land.
Is that last effect, is that on the tap ability?
Nope.
Okay, so that's a separate. Anytime you discard anything.
Yep. So they're separate. So it's the first ability is tap, draw a card, then discard a card.
Period. Yeah.
Period. Then paragraph.
Cool. Okay.
Whenever you discard an island, pirate, or vehicle card, create a tapped treasure token.
So any of my other effects that are making me discard.
And is it blue? I mean, come on.
Again, that's cool. That one doesn't tell you how to win the game, but there's a lot you can do with it. Yeah.
Which and on the face of it, it's like you're not. In my opinion, this is not a game-winning commander.
No,
right? You're not going to Voltron your way to victory with this one. You're not going to. No. I mean, I guess you could, because Voltron is, you just put a bunch of crap on the.
Technically, anyone can Voltron, but no, I see your point.
But, it's not meant to do that. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be a good enabler, right? Because you're getting rid of card. You're going through your deck more quickly.
Yep.
You're creating treasure.
Getting some extra mana.
While doing that, getting extra mana. If you are able to draw and then get rid of 3 vehicles, because vehicles are useless.
Yeah.
But make a blue-red pirate themed deck, basically.
Which do exist. They're kind of niche. They're not super strong, but there's definitely support for that.
You got the red monkey pirate in there.
Yeah, Ragavan.
That's right.
Dad monkey.
But you throw pirates, vehicles, and a bunch of islands in, and then
discard
a bunch of discard synergies.
Discarding,
Cycling would do that too, right? Because you're discarding it from your hand.
Discard and then draw.
Yeah. So put some cycling in there.
Cycling. I'm reminded of. It's less broken than this one, but I'm reminded of in Rakdos, they have one called Anya Falconwrath. I think she's also like 3 mana, 3/3, whatever. Hers is tap, discard a card, draw a card. It might be the reverse. But it's whenever you discard a card with madness, you untap her. So Rakdos has a lot of madness cards, which is like, if you discard it, you can cast it right away for its madness cost, which is usually cheaper. But there's a dumb combo deck you can do with her, where you just literally fill your entire deck with madness cards, because there's enough of them that are just like bad. And you can just tap and untap her like 60 times, and you filter through to get to your win con, your one win con in the deck. Like, is that broken? I don't know. It's more like focused. It kind of is obvious how to win in the game.
Yeah. And then
this one's subtler.
Yeah. Like that one, I think there's a direct path to victory.
If you just look at it, you're like, that's kind of fun value. Like, I can discard and draw and do it multiple times. But also, you're like, okay, but I can easily break this. Whereas this one, it's just good value.
Yeah, I think it's a decent commander.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe not overpowered, because there's probably some better Izzet commanders. But for that theme of deck, it's probably pretty okay.
Sure, yeah.
So that was my last.
Do we need a new deck building challenge that's like only commanders in the past 2 years or something? So we gotta.
Maybe.
I don't know. We gotta have new commander.
Maybe it'd be kind of cool.
Because there's a lot of like new stuff that's not super strong, or it can't really compare with some old commanders.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's like, I would like to play this commander, this style of deck in a game, but it's hard to compete with, like, I don't know, Smothering Ties or Cyclonic Rifts or any of these like old powerful commander staples.
Yeah. All right, what else you got for me, friend?
Yeah, so there, figure maybe
Socrates.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about them. I don't think they're super strong.
He's a 0/4. He doesn't.
They have Socrates. If you're a fan of Greek philosophers, you can build a whole commander deck around that. Leonardo da Vinci, also funny. I don't think it's very strong, but it's funny that that's a real card in Magic the Gathering now. There is maybe this guy can helm that deck, your pirate assassin vehicle deck. is one my brother pointed out when I sent him the whole list. He thought this one looked interesting. It's Edward Kenway, who's the protagonist from Assassin's Creed 4, the Pirates one. He's Grixis, so he's 2 red, black, blue. 5 mana, 5/5 human assassin pirate. The beginning of your end step, you create a treasure token for each tapped assassin, pirate, or vehicle you control. So again, you get a lot of treasure tokens. You have to. Your treasure tokens are untapped, but you have to tap your stuff first in order to get the treasure tokens. So, and then whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, you look at the top card of that player's library, exile it face down, and you can play that card for as long as it remains exiled. So
that's pretty okay.
You have to use basically your treasure tokens to make the colored mana that you might need to cast those spells, but you can end up exiling a lot of stuff, a lot of free cards. And it's Assassin Pirate Vehicle Tribal.
Yeah.
Seems decent, seems fun. And then for Grixis, that's kind of a unique theme. I mean, stealing stuff is not out of the realm for Grixis, but specifically like vehicles.
Yeah.
Not totally.
Yeah, for sure.
So that guy was cool. I can end off with that one. Edward Kenway. I'll do the one Bloomburrow spoiler that we got this week if we're all done with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I'm looking through
That's some decent reprints.
Hunter's Bow from Assassin's Creed.
Oh, is that the one that they do effects right when they enter? I think they had like a whole cycle of equipment that did that.
Yeah, this one's kind of cool. It's a 2 mana equipment, 1 and a green. So when Hunter's Bow enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. So you get around the
first equip cost.
Equip cost is only 1 anyway, so it's whatever. But then that creature deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature you don't control.
Oh yeah, it immediately gets to shoot.
And then
the actual equipped
creature has reach and ward too. So in green, they all
fine.
They don't give you flying in green. You get reach.
You get reach.
But ward 2 for 2 mana.
2 mana, yeah. And a free equip.
Yep.
And a free punch effect.
Yep.
You get to punch fling. One thing.
Not fling because you can't fling it at a commander.
Yeah.
Or a player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the only one that I was like, maybe.
Meh, it's not bad. There's a similar vein. Protection, 2 mana protection is the haystack, which is a fun mechanic from like all the Assassin's Creed games. So it's a 1 and a white artifact. I wish it was colorless because maybe it would just go in every deck. But 1 and a white artifact, and then you pay 2 mana and tap it. The target creature you control phases out, which is exactly how that works in game. You can hide in the haystack and you just disappear.
Yep.
So yeah, it'll protect your commander. You can disappear your commander for only 2 mana.
Yeah.
Just keep him safe from removal, and he'll keep any of his equipment and auras and stuff. So
yeah, it's pretty okay.
The haystack.
Recurring version of Teferi's Protection for 1 creature.
For 1 creature, yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, and every turn you can do that if you want. Like, even if your commander is just like a value piece, he's just sitting there on the board. Like, yeah, you want to keep him safe every turn for 2 mana. Seems all right.
You can do it at instant speed as well.
Yeah, instant speed. You wait for them to use the removal. They might just not use removal on your guy. If you have a haystack up with 2 mana, you can just bluff that forever.
Well, and if your commander is. If it's late game and your commander is maybe not as useful anymore, depending on the deck, right?
Yeah.
But you have a big, like I'm thinking of a big green stompy creature.
Yeah, right.
A dinosaur or something.
Big dinosaur.
It's like
it's just any creature you can protect.
I'd like
anyone.
to keep my creature alive, please, and then you just leave that untapped and just say, "I have 2 mana up." Like
it's a simple card. I think it's good.
Yep. All right, what do we think of Bloomburrow?
I don't know.
I am dismayed.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I don't like it.
Like, they've been releasing the story this week, and it's not like I expected much from the story. I've heard the argument that it's kind of refreshing that we're finally... It seems like this set is at least away from the whole Avengers-style story of, like, here's all the characters you know from Magic the Gathering, but I've enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I like the Magic IP. Is maybe what I would have said, I guess, 3-4 years ago. But at this point, I'm not so sure. But This one, the story so far is just like, oh, we're just like badger people, just living underground. Like, I don't really know what the conflict is. I don't know if anyone knows what the conflict is. Jace is on the plane, apparently. That's the one.
Otter.
That's the one tie-in to Magic IP. But other than that, it's just like, here's a random bunny village.
Well, and this is something that's frustrating to me. Is we've talked about this before on the podcast. They've been coalescing different groups of things into one creature type, right?
Yeah, I'll fix that.
So we had snakes and nagas are now snagas.
Yeah, Sanagas.
Or just snakes, I guess.
Yeah. There's yeah. That's probably the best example.
The
cat demons are now the Rakshasas from Tarkir, which were unique looking cat demons. Now they're just demons. They got rid of cats.
And there's another one, the magic proprietary race that they got rid of.
Oh, that's right, the Viashinos, I think.
Yeah, Viashinos.
Viashinos are just lizards. I'm like,
yep.
Well, yeah, they were reptilian people, but
so there's multiple examples of them getting rid of basically different races, different creature types in Magic the Gathering.
When that's a big thing for Magic the Gathering players. I think I've said this before. Like, if somebody really likes dragons, you build a whole dragon deck.
Yeah.
Somebody really likes zombies,
elves, cats.
They're like cats. Yeah, it's like, I want to do this. Magic, especially Commander, is about expression, and you kind of want to give your players as much expression as possible when you're building your deck. And it's really like, I poured my heart and soul into this deck.
Yep. So they have all these. They've been reducing the number of creature types.
Yeah.
Which,
from a gameplay standpoint,
makes sense a little bit, right? And then this set, they're just like, well, and then they've come out with like some random other creatures.
Yeah.
It's like capybaras. It's like, why did we need capybara as a creature type and we got rid of naga?
Wombats.
Well, yeah.
Which were funny, but
it's like,
other than
it's hilarious, but like, okay. But those are one-off creatures, so it's like, and they didn't have anything to do with like
Wolverines was also in Thunder Junction, and varmints. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. But there wasn't any like Lord effects or like, when you cast a wombat creature, do this, right? Yeah. It was just kind of like, okay, this is like a one-off card. Some artist was like, I want to draw a wombat, and everyone was like, okay, we're gonna make it like a 1/1. Like, that's okay, it's a wombat.
It's worthless.
You know, but I mean, that's effectively what happened, right? Like, none of those creatures were immaculate creatures.
No.
But then you get to this set, and it's like mice, otters, rabbits. There was what was it?
That was the other bit of news. Other than the story, they announced each 2-color pair is a different creature type.
Mice, rabbit, otter. I think that's it. Frog, we've had.
Those are the new ones, right? Yeah, mice, rabbit, otter.
Yeah, mice, rabbit, and otter, I believe.
Some of the other ones they're not adding, but they're putting support for in the set. There's badgers and
frogs,
birds. There's no monkeys. I don't think. I should have pulled up the whole list, but again, I saw it. I was just like, okay, it's a bunch of random woodland creatures.
Yeah, I just have the problem I have though is that, like, for example, the mouse soldier is other mice you control get +1/+1.
Yeah, so that's actually support for that creature type.
And then there was another one.
It's probably going to waste a good amount of the set just doing stuff like that.
Wasn't there another one that did something similar? Oh, some of the lands.
Oh, yeah.
So there's also, there's raccoons and squirrels. Well, we've had squirrels, but raccoons.
I forgot about that.
So there's a new Oak Hollow Village, which is a land. Taps for a colorless or taps for a green and spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. But then you can pay 1 green and tap it and put a 1/1 counter on each frog, rabbit, raccoon, or squirrel you control that entered the battlefield this turn.
Frog, rabbit, raccoon, or squirrel.
And then a red one is very similar. Taps for a colorless or for a red, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. Then 1 red, tap, target lizard, mouse, otter, or raccoon you control gets +1/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery.
Yeah, so that's all of the 2-color pairs that are going to have red in it.
Yep.
Woo.
You know,
who's this for? Like,
yeah, that's my. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Is like, we've been coalescing these different races, which a lot of them, like lore wise and like expression wise, isn't great.
Yeah.
But like gameplay wise, it's like, oh, now all of the things that say snakes get +1/+1, my Nagas get it too.
Yeah.
Which, like, okay, great.
Sure, yeah, that helps.
It gives me more options for deck building, right?
They've had, I think, even in Thunder Junction, they combined the Outlaws, which I didn't love because it's like they gave it another name, but they in the reminder text they said, yeah, you're assassins, rogues, mercenaries, and pirates or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, cool. All right, that's fine mechanically. I like that.
Yeah.
They've done that sometimes with some of the pest type creatures lately of like, yeah, the snakes and spiders, maybe not snakes, but it was like spiders and insects and whatever, like all get this effect.
Was it
rats? I think. Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, and then they're adding these like random cards in, and it's like, okay,
extremely specific
this
support.
Like, thankfully, there's other lizards in the game.
Yeah.
And thankfully, there's other frogs and squirrels in the game.
But otters.
But raccoons, rabbits, otters, that just don't exist. The black one is the only one where it's like, okay, it's bats, lizards, rats, and squirrels. It's like
those are all previous. Yeah.
So it's like, great, I get one card that affects cards that previously have existed. Other than I just
there's at least squirrel and bat commander decks for sure.
Yeah.
So.
The blue one is bird, frog, otter, and rat. So bird, frog, and rat. Okay.
But in blue, nobody's using rats.
Nope. The white one is bats, birds, mouses, or bat, bird, mouse, and rabbit.
Yeah, now we got to confuse mouse and mice and what?
Mouse and rat are different.
Yeah, mouse and rat are different now,
which is dumb.
I get
if you're combining Nagas and snakes, or Viashino and lizards, rats and mice are literally the same thing.
Yeah.
If you see a mouse right there, you're gonna try to get it out of your house. If you see a rat right there, you're gonna try to get it out of your house.
It would be if they had like.
If you see a Viashino walk through the door, you're not gonna get rid of it. Like if there's a lizard, you're probably gonna kick it out.
You're like, oh yeah, lizard. Whereas, like, if in this case, mouse and rat would be like, oh, look, a lizard. You'd be like, well, actually, that's a skink or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's totally different. Like, two different.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Mouse and a rat.
That's not a snake. It's actually a serpent.
Yeah, something dumb.
Because it doesn't have scales.
You're like, I know, but this is a card game, and that's close enough. And you don't need to mechanically ruin the card game to appease biologists.
That's not a lizard. That's a salamander.
Clearly, he's more aquatic.
Actually, a salamander isn't it a creature type?
I think salamander is its own creature type. Yeah.
Speaking of,
which
But like, I hope my point is getting across. Where it's like, we're creating these new creature types, which like I'm all for creating new creature types, as long as you don't have a history of getting rid of creature types.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're like, and obviously logistically, if there's some coalescing, like for example,
and where's the support for it? Though?
If they had said, in the past we've had mice and rats.
Mm-hmm.
There's just too much of it. We're trying to make room for more stuff. We're just going to combine those two. This
happened long before we started playing Magic, but paladins and knights used to be two separate. Every old card that's paladin is just a knight now.
Which, kind of makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's a human in armor with a sword.
That's a knight.
Mm-hmm. If you want to get like specific, it's like, they can be a priest knight or something like that.
Yeah,
or
cleric knight.
Cleric knight, whatever.
Sure.
It's like, okay, that's a paladin, right?
It's paladin.
Cleric knight is a paladin.
Mm-hmm.
But they're taking these races that are not separated or that are not the same thing and combining it. And
it comes to if there was like if we still had multi-set blocks where we had enough time to actually build support for this tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, what's a good example? Amonkhet was like their sort of Egyptian themed plane in Magic the Gathering. At that point, we were already down to 2 block sets, but we used to do three set blocks. Amonkhet was a 2-set block, but that was still long enough because that's 200 plus cards per set, so that's almost 500 cards that they introduced like mummies, but they were just white zombies. So I don't know if that's like a perfect example, but with 2 sets, there was enough like white zombies that was actually relevant.
Well, and if it's a white zombie, surely there is a white-black commander that you could put zombies and white-color zombies in the same thing, and it works flawlessly because they're both zombie creatures.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to think of like another...
So if you want rats and mice to be on the same battlefield, why don't we just call them rats? And instead of being black and green like rats are, we make these white and green, or white and blue, or whatever the rat.
It's just if we had more time instead of only one set to explore these archetypes. Like speaking of the Nagas, Tarkir was a 3-set block that was a really cool set. A lot of people are speculating that we might return to that one soon. I don't know how well they're going to do that, but Tarkir had the Nagas as one of their tribes on that plane. And we had 3 sets where it's like, yeah, we had a lot of good Naga commanders and some Naga support, which is now just snakes, but whatever. Stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, you had time to build up maybe the unique flavor of that plane. And in this case, Bloomburrow is a plane of all animals, but we're only going to see it once and then it's gone. We're not going to see mouse support for another 3-4 years, if at all, probably.
Yeah, it just seems dumb.
The one card is Hugs, Grizzly Guardian. He's a badger warrior.
I don't think I saw this guy.
Yeah, this art is just like a buff humanoid badger.
I did see this. I didn't.
So for all the smack talk about Bloomburrow, buff badger dude,
he's pretty okay.
Maybe a positive. I don't know. Kind of looks cool, I guess. He's red and green because that's the badgers. He's 2 red, 2 green, and X. So he's 4 in X. And at his base, he's a 5/5 trample, and you can play an additional land on each of your turns. So if you just want 4 mana for that effect, you don't even need the X. But when he enters the battlefield, you exile the top X cards of your library, and until the end of your next turn, you can play those cards. It's just like a little bit extra value if you want to pump extra mana into him.
Yeah, which in Gruul is not unfeasible.
Yeah, there's certainly synergies for that. So I don't know if he's an amazing commander because he's coming out in a standard set, but 4 mana, 5/5 trample, play an extra land each turn.
Seems okay.
In Gruul, he's a big beater, and if it's like late game and you got extra mana to pump into him, sure. This guy's a bomb in draft, though. Holy cow!
Sure.
This guy is insane.
Sure.
But yeah, there's Hugs. I hope they all don't have weird names like that, but
they do though.
They do.
Look, there's a couple of the commanders. We're not commanders, but legendary creatures that are going to be commanders.
They're all just going to be funny animal names.
Burke, Long Ear of the Law.
All right. Because he's
Mabel,
a rabbit.
Heir to Cragflame.
Yeah, Mabel's one of their like main characters or whatever.
The bear, elemental bear is kind of cool. I can talk about him. Lumra, Bellow of the Woods. 6 mana. It's pure green, so 4 and 2 green pips. Elemental bear, vigilance and reach. Power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control, so that's always a cool little ability.
Common, yeah.
And when Lumra enters, mill 4 cards, then return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Oh, fun.
So,
all right. If you discarded a bunch of lands earlier, it buffs up your bear.
Yep.
That's fine. That seems fine.
So, for 6 mana, you can maybe get 2 or 3 extra lands out of it.
Well, there's a lot of decks that purposely try to like blow up all their own lands and then recast them from the graveyard to get extra landfall triggers.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
Yeah, it seems all right.
Simic landfall decks coming together, Trevor.
Always. Every new set, there's Simic support, Stephen. Like, would you like to play lands and or draw cards? Yes.
Big creature? You gotcha.
Gotcha covered. So that's it for the upcoming Magic news, I believe. Upcoming Magic cards. Bloomburrow is in a month or 2 or whatever, so spoiler season should kick off full swing here in a week or 2. Assassin's Creed is already coming out by the time you watch this video.
What's crazy is that Duskmourn is also already spoiling as well.
Yeah, so because they want to drop that one around like October, like Halloween as they're playing, because it's the spooky set.
It's really weird. There's 2 cards from it that I was like, what the heck is going on?
They just gave a little bit, so we probably won't have actual spoiler season
Yeah.
for a while because we talked about that demon last week.
Yeah. There's some creepy cards.
Some creepy looking stuff. I'm holding my breath on that one. That one might be
They
cool
had
art.
the schemes.
Yeah.
Let me see if I'm.
Is that a new mechanic?
It's a card that I don't understand. Yeah, scheme.
I only seen like. I have no idea what that is. I've never seen that before in my life.
There's a couple of them are spoiled on the site that I use.
No, I have no idea what that is. Huh?
Yeah.
I've not heard anything
There's
about that.
two of them. That
You are fake news.
I don't know.
Did you pull this off of Custom Magic?
No, it's magicspoiler.com.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do more research into that because I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I had no clue what it was either.
Schemes. Coming soon, next week on the 5G podcast.
Probably.
We'll be talking about scheming.
All right. What should we talk about next, Sir Trevor?
Keeping on the Magic theme, we should probably just trash that one article, right? Here's our official response to. Let me pull up this guy.
I also have it saved to pull up.
To the Commander's Herald, which is an official like Magic the Gathering article journalism site. I don't know. Stop playing Rampant Growth.
Michael Solani.
We're calling him out, dude. He put right there at the top. I don't remember seeing this the first time I read. Opinion.
Well, it is an opinion, but it's a wrong opinion.
It's an opinion editorial piece. This guy claims to be an expert. I'm making that up, but he does write articles. He is at least a professional Magic journalist. He's saying that Rampant Growth, everybody's favorite ramp card in Commander, 1 in a green, go pull a basic land out of your deck, put it into play.
Yep.
He's saying that card's bad.
Yep.
He's saying don't play it. It's bad.
Yep.
I read his whole article, and it sounds to me like somebody who either he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Give me the rundown here. Tee it off. Let's go.
So right, like his claim is that Rampant Growth is in the top 25 most popular cards in Commander, and it shouldn't be there. He kind of like saves his butt a little bit. He qualifies it sometimes with like, okay, the card is fine, but it shouldn't be this good. It shouldn't be this popular. And I'm like, yeah, but like, there's a lot of things he doesn't consider, even in all of his defenses, is the price. Rampant Growth has been reprinted into Oblivion, so that's going to make it a cheap card. It's accessible for every player. It's also in precons a bunch, and a lot of people, maybe that's point 2, precons. People will buy precons and then just upload the deck list online because he's pulling all the stats from EDH Rec, which is the biggest database for Commander. So that skews the numbers. That's why Sol Ring and Command Tower are number 1 and 2. It's just precons and price and availability.
Because there's a bazillion Sol Rings, and every single precon comes with one. Every single set that comes out, every single Commander set has a new one.
Yep.
Same with Command Tower.
Same with Command Tower. Rampant Growth.
Same with Rampant Growth.
Is basically in every green Commander deck now. Every precon. And a lot of people, if they're building a deck on a budget or you're building any deck with green, you're like, this is 2 mana ramp. I want that.
Yeah.
Rampant Growth. It's fantastic. I'll admit it's not maybe like the absolute best option because he breaks down. He's like, well, here's other good green 2 mana ramps like the Nature's Lore or 3 Visits, because these ones don't get you basics. Yeah, but the price point again, or the availability. And
also my thought was, okay, if I'm playing a green deck, I want ramp.
You want ramp
because green creatures usually cost a little bit more than normal creatures.
Sure.
So I'm going to have a 3 Visits. I'm going to have a Nature's Lore. I'm going to have a Sol Ring.
Yep.
I'm going to have all of these other things.
And Rampant Growth. Yeah.
Like, why am I...
And so if you're playing in a multicolored deck that just has green is the best at ramp. Play to the strengths of each color in your deck.
Yeah.
So play Rampant Growth. It gets you a basic land. You can go mana fix and you go get one of your other colors.
One of his points was that it's anti-mana fix. It's like the point of the card is nearly to mana.
If you don't have green mana as one of your 2 mana, starting 2 mana in a multicolored deck, you're doing it wrong. Because green is the ramp color strength of your deck. Like, you should guarantee you have a good amount of green.
And then he contradicts himself because he says, "Oh, you could just play a 3 visits or a Nature's Lore." It's like, but if you can't play a Rampant Growth, you can't play one of those either because those also require green.
Yeah. Yeah. Something else he says. Oh well, you should just play artifacts because artifacts are permanent and they can sometimes be any color or give you other effects. He's like, look at Arcane Signet. Oh, that's phenomenal. Oh, look at Thought Vessel here. I'm like, this is coming from somebody who has never played Modern before. He doesn't understand the benefit of shuffling your deck and filtering your deck of basic lands.
Yeah.
Ramping will always be better than artifacts.
Because you shuffle the deck. After getting you take a card out.
The statistics, the probability. This man has never played Modern before in his life. There's a reason, there's so much probability that goes into making decks, especially in a format that's not Commander. Commander, you try to cheese the statistics, but it's 100 cards singleton. You do the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
Other formats is 60 cards, and you really narrow that down of your land to card ratio. You can run duplicates, so you're like, do I want 4 copies of this card? Do I want 3 copies of this card? Shuffling with fetch lands changes your variability. Not to mention manipulating the top of your deck and then shuffling those cards away because you don't want those. So then you increase your odds of drawing something else.
Well, and also this is something that he didn't take into consideration, and it's playing off of your point exactly. Even though it's a singleton format, would you rather play 2 cards and increase the odds of getting another one by not 1%,
a factor of 1,
or would you rather play 2 cards and increase that chance by a factor of 2?
A factor of 2. Mm-hmm. Or 1 card and a factor 2, right? Just the ramp and the basic land.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
2. Yep.
If you have a Soul Ring, which obviously you're gonna have that one in anyway, right? But Soul Ring, you play the Soul Ring. And if you draw the Soul Ring, play the Soul Ring, you've only increased your chance of getting the better card by 1.
Yeah.
Right? If you draw Rampant Growth, play the Rampant Growth. There's your 1.
Uh-huh.
Then you draw, or you play the basic land, which you get to just search for, right? You throw that in, and then you shuffle the library, which therefore also increases the chance of a better card being on top.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Some of his other points, he's like, oh, well, what about the mana dorks? Mana dorks are great, but they can be removed. Nobody removes lands. So can artifacts. His counterpoint to that was nobody uses single target removal on mana rocks.
Correct. It's all board wipes.
Correct. It's board wipes.
And how many board wipes are in Commander? About 1,000?
A lot. And creatures can often get single target removed or just board wipes. He's like, what about... This point here doesn't make any sense. His 1 mana ramp. I understand, if your commander is 2 mana, maybe you don't want as much 2 mana ramp because you'd rather be casting your commander on turn 2.
But how many commanders are 2 mana?
But other than that, even
let's think. My commanders that I have. My cheapest one, I believe, is 3 mana, and that's my big green stompy deck.
Sure.
Shishiru, 4 mana. Spirits, 7 mana.
Yeah, total, yeah.
It gets reduced because of her ability, but nonetheless, to cast her is 7 mana if you're just going to cast her. Tyranids, 4 mana.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I got? Freaking ninjas, 3 mana.
3 mana.
It's there's not a whole ton of 2 mana commanders.
No, and to his point, it is kind of important to look at your average curve, right? So if you're one of your 4 mana commanders, you definitely want Rampant Growth in there. You want 2 mana ramp because 1, you're probably not ramping. Soul Ring's kind of the pipe dream. 2 mana, you want to be ramping because then you'd have 4 mana by turn 3 to cast your commander.
Yeah.
So looking at stuff like that, vice versa, if you have a 5 mana commander, you probably want more 3 mana ramp. Whereas 2 mana ramp isn't as important. He just, I don't know, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He talks later about our argument of filtering out, which is what I said, this guy doesn't play Modern at all, but then he says, oh yeah, you don't need Rampant Growth, you can just play fetch lands, because fetch lands filter. I'm like, then it goes back to the cost argument, dude. Every fetch land is $20. I'm not playing fetch lands unless I really need them in Commander. That's not worth it. Rampant Growth is 10 cents.
No. And it's still not filtering as much.
No. But then, like, it's better because fetch lands can fix you, color fix you.
So can rampant growth.
So can rampant growth.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty bad take. We're calling you out, Mr.
Solani from the Commanders.
Michael Solani.
Oh, geez, this last point was abysmal. He was like, finally, consider running X spells that can search out more lands if you sink more mana into them. I think that's an abysmally bad take. Only if your deck really cares about landfall triggers should you ever run 5 mana ramp or plus. Like, that's retarded. All these X spells, it's like, yeah, you just you pay X green and you can go get that many lands into play. Like, no.
Yeah,
we're playing a different game.
Well, and then one of his other points is it's nowhere near as impactful as other options. In 2 mana, if you actually want to beef up your landfall deck, a single shot sorcery is not the way to go. Landfall decks want to do the following things: find ways to guarantee land, blah 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 blah. And then he says, like, oh yeah, just put in a 3 mana Crucible of Worlds. You may play lands from your graveyard. Yeah, guess what? That's a $22 card. That's half the price of a commander deck in one card.
I understand, like, abilities on permanents are good because then it's repeatable, but
Life from the Loam, 2 mana, return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand. It has Dredge 3, so you can do it again, right? It's $9.
It's $9, yeah. It's an old
the
card.
only one that he puts on here is Abundance, but that doesn't do any. That
doesn't ramp.
That's an anti-ramp card.
Yeah.
Like, if we're being honest, 90% of the time you're using Abundance, you're gonna say non-land because it's probably late game.
You want to draw anything besides a land, please.
Exactly.
That's why in the early game you want to filter as many lands out of your deck as you can, so you guarantee better draws late game.
Exactly.
Like, this guy probably should have put satire, but this website is not satire. This website
there's another one. There's a satirical website.
Yeah, that one is pretty funny sometimes.
They have some really funny takes, and I'm like, they're not really that wrong, though.
Yeah, exactly. This guy just goes to show you. It's not a phrase I use often, but just goes to show you should not believe every commander news, commander deck building advice you read online. I'm not saying we're the experts, but we're not telling you to take ramp out of your deck. That is an essential part of commander of this format.
No.
Just don't listen to this guy. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I can't find any reason.
Like,
yeah.
He goes on to say,
if you have an unlimited budget, there's better stuff than ramp and growth.
And like, there's other, like, he's like, just play Primal Growth instead. It's like, okay, so that's a 3 mana find 1, or 3 mana sack a creature, which in early game, I don't know if I want to be sacking my creatures early game.
No, yeah.
For 2 mana. It's like, okay, I'd rather pay 2 mana for 1 than 3 mana and sack a creature for 2. I just...
Yeah, no, that's...
And there are cards in here where I'm like, yeah, that should be in the deck as well. Like, he does give good examples of, like, other ramp spells.
Other ramp spells that are...
like,
but for one reason or another, they're not in the top 25 most popular. Like, and they're not going to be.
No. Like, Soul Ring.
It's probably always going to be number 1.
Yeah, because it's like the best ramp on the planet.
There's some minor argument to be made. Maybe you don't want Soul Ring in a deck if your commander is 2 or 3 mana and it's all colored pips.
Sure.
Maybe.
But, like, for me, it's like, if my commander is anything, I'm going to put a Soul Ring in there. Because, maybe it doesn't help my commander. But guess what? I've got 100 other cards.
That it helps, yeah.
Or 99 or 98, I guess, because the Soul Ring counts. I've got nearly 100 cards where 2 colorless mana probably counts.
Probably helps. Yep. Yeah. So
bad take all around.
Commander's Herald. Don't listen to this guy. Don't listen to that article.
I don't know about his other articles. He might have some other good takes somewhere else. But this article I was reading, and I was like, nah, heck, this is crazy.
Listen to us instead. We're professionals.
Professional retards.
This guy got paid to write this article.
It's true.
We're just 2 guys on a couch on a podcast.
It's true.
And I what did I say? A unfathomably bad take from this guy.
Yeah. I jingle. Dog says hello.
Yikes.
Anyway, all right. Should we end with one more Magic card?
Yeah. Let's do that.
I got my. It's an unset, or not an unset. It's a silver border.
No, silver border.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a 6 mana card, enchantment, 6 mana enchantment.
Mhm.
It's the cheese stands alone.
the cheese stands alone. Yeah. Okay.
It's,
the big cheese.
the art is great.
Yeah.
I love the art. But it's if you control no cards in play. Sorry, if you control no cards in play other than the cheese stands alone
Cheese.
and have no cards in your hand, you win the game.
Yeah. All right. It's pretty good.
It's pretty great.
That doesn't even have to be silver border. That's just
Honestly, it probably wouldn't.
probably wouldn't be these days. It would just be a bad win condition.
The problem is that it's not no other permanents in play, it's no other cards in play.
Yeah.
So you can't have any lands. So how do you cast the thing?
Then you have to destroy all your own lands.
Yeah, you have to figure out how to destroy your own land, and then you have to figure out how to get rid of your hand.
That's funny. That's funny. There is one in white. Because also I think the problem with that one is that it's not a specific trigger. It's not a specific timing.
Mm-mm.
There's one in white where it says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no other permanents other than this enchantment, you win the game or something. I think that one's called Barren Glory. But it says like a 5 or 6 mana white enchantment. It's bad. It's terrible. But at least you could build around that if you wanted. Or there's the blue one that's like, if at the beginning of your upkeep you have 200 more cards in your library, you win the game.
Yeah.
I think that one could just be like, yeah, you got to have the cheese at the beginning of your upkeep,
We should
maybe.
make a silver border deck challenge. That'd be
Yeah.
very fun.
That would
It'd be
be.
very fun.
They've got legendary creatures.
Maybe not like a commander deck, but like a modern set or something.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
just
you
like
know?
a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Some of those were like draftable. Some of those silver border sets
Really?
were designed to be. They had booster packs and everything.
They're kind of fun.
Yeah,
All the donkey cards are in.
all the donkey cards. A lot of they're just cheating or breaking the rules. It's hilarious.
What's the BFM?
Big furry monster.
Yeah.
BFM.
He's 1 million mana to cost or whatever it is.
My favorite one is Cheaty McCheater Face. It's a card that like if you can get him
Django.
if you can get him into play without anybody noticing, he's on the board.
That's funny.
Yeah, but the card text says like if somebody catches you and they say Cheaty McCheater Face, you have to put him back in your hand or something.
You'd just be trying to play him like all the time.
You're like, yeah, so I'm going to play this island. You just like double up you sandwich the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. The silver border set stuff.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah, thanks for that. Cheese stands alone.
I liked that card.
The art is goofy.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Until next time.
Till next time.